Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the throwing hammer known as the Wolf Sledge. Now, you get this from the Wolf boss, which is going to spawn in randomly during the Saturn 6 event, which is going on right now. So basically, Saturn 6, or the Wolf of Saturn 6, is the Nightwave sort of, I want to say, cinematic storytelling thing that is going on right now. If you go to your radio in your Lisette, you can see some cool rewards, cinematics, weekly and daily challenges, and stuff like that. And as this event sort of progresses, then the wolf is going to be more likely to spawn in your mission, and you're going to get the parts for the wolf sledge. Now, really, really rare. I had to pay 770 platinum to get, this hammer right here. And if we go ahead and we do a big charge attack, we can throw it, and it comes back to us. So it's really, really cool. I don't like how it customizes with my my Valkyr's colors, and I usually use Valkyr whenever I'm testing out melee weapons and stuff like that. So we do without strike, and then we do with strike, and then we do with strike plus war cry to sort of take a look at the damage and all that stuff. But this is a very, very fun weapon, and if you guys want to go ahead and take a look-see, I'm using the Crushing Rune stance, so we can go ahead and take a look at some of the combos. So this is your blocking combo, where we do some cool slams, which we can juggle enemies with. And then we have our pretty standard spinny combo, which I think is really, really cool. Gives us a little bit of distance and knocks enemies pretty far away, which I think is really awesome. So let's take a look at the build. This is a crit condition overload hybrid build because I thought, well, hey, it's got a decent status chance whenever I throw drifting contact on, giving us 46.2%. And then we have a critical chance of 17%, which is going to pair well with Blood Rush. Then drifting helps out with that as well. Condition overload, so then whenever we proc our status effects, we get more damage. Organ Shatter for more critical damage. Prime Pressure Point for our melee damage. Berserker for our attack speed, because we definitely need that. Prime Fever Strike for our Toxin, and then Shocking Touch for our Electric, giving us Corrosive, so we can strip away enemy armor, and our damage is going to scale that little bit better. So let's go ahead and unequip the Arcane Strikes that I have equipped on my Valkyr. Go over to our little spawn-in console, make sure that I am invincible, and we're going to spawn in the enemies unpaused, because if we attack enemies whenever they are paused with a melee weapon, we're going to get the stealth damage bonus, and we don't want that. And I'm just going to demonstrate to you guys how I like to use this weapon. So what I do is I do the basic combo, and I do the spin attack, and then I stop, and then I sort of reset and keep on doing it over and over and over again. And the reason I do that is because we're going to hit a decent amount of enemies with that combo, and it's not going to swing us too far away. So that's an unarmored enemy right there, because my Kavat stripped away his armor. Now, what can happen is my Kavat can proc a crit buff. Hopefully that doesn't happen, and you guys just see the raw damage. The only thing that my Kavat's doing right now is stripping away the armor, which is pretty cool. But you can see that whenever we get our status effects on, we just knocked all those guys flying, we deal a pretty hefty amount of damage to all of these enemies. And the thing that's even better is with our combos, if we knock them over, we can do slam attacks on them, which is going to deal even more damage, implying you are doing it right. So all we're doing really is just focusing our attention on a group of enemies, and then using our E, and then that's going to swing us forward, implying we're not like sort of looking into an enemy. And then if you want to continue, you can do the final finisher of the combo to knock all the enemies around you flying, right? So I just like doing this E to apply as many status effects as possible for single target damage, and if you want a little bit of correct control, I'll finish off the combo, and then all the enemies will go flying. So it's not the most damaging weapon in the world, so let's go ahead and use the throwing side of it versus this guy. Sometimes the damage doesn't register, which is kind of a big old yikes. You kind of have to be hitting them face on like that, and it just knocks them flying backwards. So it's not the most damaging thing in the world, and you gotta, just kind of use it as a gimmicky crowd control effect, right? Just like the, finisher in this combo, like this here. Knock him flying, which is really, really awesome. And then fling him off the map, I guess, which is really cool. So that is basically Wolf Sledge without any arcane buffs or Valkyr buffs, right? So instead of just whacking those guys over and over and over again, trying to kill all 19 of them, let's kill them with that, and then throw on our arcane strikes and test it with that, because most players are going to be using Arcane Strike if they're, taking melee seriously, Arcane Strike is definitely recommended. You throw on 2 of them, so then it's more likely to proc. It procs more consistently, meaning you have more consistent DPS, right? Simulate these bad guys in, and you'll notice that our attack speed, because we're using Arcane Strike, is going to be a lot higher whenever we start to get our crits, right? So there's our Arcane Strike proc, and then we build our Berserker, and we deal far more DPS because of that Arcane Strike on there, and we can burst down these enemies a lot faster. Now my Kavat did strip the armor of that guy, a few of them actually, which is actually really, really nice, because I mean it's going to give you guys a better idea of what it's going to perform like versus you know, armor stripped enemies. So we got our Kavat critical chance buff, so this is just going to absolutely shred now, because of course that with Blood Rush is kind of insane. But let's go ahead and get rid of the Kavat just for more accurate testing, I guess. Bye bye kitty cat. We'll make these guys despawn and spawn in another group of 10 just for more accurate sort of demonstration. Hopefully that isn't still on. Don't think it is, but get our Arcane Strike going. Didn't mean to do that finisher, but that works too. It's just cool, right? Like getting all the bad guys to sort of fly away. But here's your single target DPS with your Arcane Strike plus your Berserker, which is actually really, really nice. You want to make sure that you're aiming at the enemy so you don't send yourself flying with the first spinny move, right? And then you're pretty much good to go. So you're going to be proccing those impact procs very, very often. And that's going to help out with your condition overload, but not a lot, because your impact proc doesn't stay there for long. Only stays there for a little bit. So it's an alright weapon. Let's go ahead and test it out with Warcry. So Warcry is going to decrease the enemy armor, but it's going to increase our attack speed as well. So if we go ahead and hit that, you'll see that we deal far more damage eventually. Here we go. So we just deal a lot more per strike, and they die far faster. The only thing that you might have trouble with if you're playing Valk here is, you know, staying on target with the Wolf Sledge. So it's a fun weapon. It's kind of more of a collector's item in my opinion. Like, it's not going to be the type of weapon that I use outside of the simulacrum and, you know, just for the sake of showing off, I guess. It's more of a thing to say, hey, I was around whenever Nightwave was here, because Nightwave is eventually going to come to an end. So this is more so for documentation rather than showing you, you know, the most optimal build or the most optimal way to, you know, use Wolf Sledge. This is just why I went ahead and built on it, and it's a pretty unique, cool weapon, and it also leaves, you know, that effect in the ground whenever you do a slam attack with it, which is pretty a-okay. So yeah, this is the Wolf Sledge. You get it from the Wolf of Saturn 6 himself. He's a pretty tall guy, really, really tanky. I actually encountered him for the first time today on stream, and I was able to kill him because my Kavat stripped away his armor, and then I was using a Spin to Win Crip Off with a Riven plus Mimi Strike. Now, a lot of people have been saying that he's tanky. I would say if you're going out of your way to, you know, get the wolf to spawn in, keep running capture mission after capture mission, and use Warframes that are going to allow you to strip armor, and then use slash weapons to take them down really, really fast, right? So a Spin to Win melee or a crit condition overload hybrid melee with a Warframe such as Ash with a Seeking Shuriken, or any other frame that you can use to strip away enemy armor, running 4 times cruise projection and all that jazz, and maybe a frame to keep yourself alive, because he does hit pretty hard, and if your team isn't prepared for it, he will take you down relatively quickly. So you want to make sure that you're prepared for that. Maybe a Nova to slow him down, because he was kind of just running all over the place whenever he spawned in with me, so that might be a thing. But he's that enemy that you can't really prepare for, right? He spawns in like the Stalker. There's no one certain way to get him to spawn. It's just completely random. But like I said, as the Nightwave event or episode sort of progresses, he's going to be more and more likely to spawn in and harass your grips and all that jazz. So I'll give you guys a final look at the builds. Some things I would do to maybe, you know, change it up a little bit. You could throw Weeping Winds on here if you really, really wanted to, but I don't really recommend it, because you're going to be killing enemies fast enough anyway. You could, you know, swap out these 90% for your Geostat 60/60s, right? So you'd have not Malignant Force, sorry, Let me remind myself of the names of these mods because I forget. Violent Scourge plus Voltaic Strike, right? You would use those in place of the 90%, and then that way you'd be getting more consistent Condition Overload procs, so you'd be dealing more or less around the same damage, I guess, kind of. You'd just be proccing your Condition Overload more consistently, which is a-okay. You know, it's definitely a nice thing to have, and you don't need to necessarily be running these 90% unless you're planning on going like super deep into endgame content. So yeah, that is about the only thing I would change. You could run a body count in place of Drifting Contact, but you lose out in status chance there, and you don't necessarily have to build for Condition Overload. You can build for just straight crit as well if you want to, and stack on another elemental mod on there, but I just thought, hey, it's better to, you know, use all the format and throw on a crit Condition Overload build just for the sake of showing people what it would play like, because you could throw on a crit build, a status build, whatever, with these mod polarity setup, right? So I can run any build that I want. So yeah, that is going to be it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and hit that like button below. If you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.